Three, two, and one. First, I got to say thank you so much for doing this interview with me. For folks who are watching this whole interview, I mean, we are like, it's less than 24 hours from the Canadian Music Association of Ontario Awards that was up in Markham.
Yes.
I know I'm still dying from that because that was a late night, and you were there too.
I was there, yes, and we did TV early this morning. It's been an exciting 24 hours, but I gotta say, it feels amazing to be home. I love coming back to Canada, and just crossing that border always just feels so good.
How long have you been in Nashville now for?
I've been living in Nashville for almost 7 years now, so it's crazy.
Okay, because here's the thing that's killing me, because you're from Calgary, right?
Yes.
Where is that accent coming from then?
This accent, I mean, I'm half Canadian, half Southern. I'm just, you put it all in a blender and you see what comes out.
That is a blender that says wow all over it. I got to say, though, I love your story, love your music. I want to get right into this because I just want to get into the two words Randy Bachman, but I don't want to do that just yet. Let's wait on that. You'll understand why in a second, okay? But let's get back to Calgary with the love of music and country music, because really, it's almost like you didn't have that much of a choice, because you were born into it, listening to it. It was all there for you.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to have a really musical family. And I started playing piano when I was 6 years old. My mom got my brother and I playing at a really, really young age. And then I thought it was a lot cooler to play Shania Twain songs on the guitar. So because my dad played guitar, I picked up the guitar at age 8, and we were pretty much inseparable ever since.
Country music. What is it about country music do you think has been resonating so much? I've been saying this a million times. There's something in the water with y'all that have been drinking it, because I have never seen such great Canadian artists at one time in a long time. It's like back in the 90s, and it's like we're being revisited all over again.
The thing about country music that makes it stand out, apart from any other genre really, is the songwriting and the stories. In country music, you can still write lyrics that mean something. You almost need to write lyrics that mean something, because that's what listeners and fans love to hear, I really think. They want to identify with you. They want to connect with you and say, I felt that. I know what that feels like. And so as a songwriter and as an artist, it's a responsibility, but it's also one of my favorite parts of what I do, is to be able to, write what I'm feeling and then be able to sing that on stage.
What kind of stories do you like to tell?
I mean, a lot of it is, I either say the transitioning period. So the transitioning of getting into a really awesome relationship or getting out of a really not awesome relationship. And so those are generally when the best songs come.
Have you been going through that for this album that we don't know the name yet will be coming out eventually?
I definitely have a little bit of both sides, which is good. I think it's so rewarding to me to hear back from fans when they're like, Lindsay, your song helped me get through this breakup, or Lindsay, I love rocking out to your song when we're going out on Friday night. And so those are some of the coolest things that I can ever hear.
Okay, I want to jump back to when you were younger then. What was it like going to concerts and shows? I mean, who did you like to go see? And you mentioned Shania Twain, but are there other artists that you like to listen to too and see in concert?
Yeah, I mean, Shania was my idol. My first concert ever was actually a Metallica concert. And so, I know, right? I know. I found my love for rock guitar. But gosh, anything that is musical, I love going to see John Mayer play. I got to share the stage with Buddy Guy at a pretty early age in my career, which was incredible.
Wow.
It just sort of, even watching Buddy play side stage, he just has a charisma in what he does. And when he picks up the guitar, an 80-year-old man turns into a 5-year-old boy. And he just has that smile on his face, and it's just so infectious. Like, anybody in the room watching him play can feel it. And so I love watching artists that just have that amount of passion for what they do.
Have you had a chance to meet Shania, or at least get into her presence?
I haven't yet, so hopefully that can happen. Hopefully that can happen one day. But yeah, she's formed a lot of my love for country music and for songwriting. And really, she had those songs when she first came out that were about female empowerment, and no one was really doing what she was doing at the time. And she was such a strong woman, and it's why Shania and Bonnie Raitt and Sheryl Crow and all of these women have formed such strong influences.
When did you know, though, for yourself that this was the thing to do, like the career and everything else, you wanted to be part of all this?
From a really early age. I'd say at the beginning my teens when I started working with Randy. I just knew that this is what I wanted to do.
Okay, so let's cut it there. Let's get to Randy. Randy Bachman,
that's enough.
okay, guitar god, legend in Canada, legend in music, period, takes an interest in you. And I've known Randy a long time.
Really?
So I know if Randy's got interest in somebody, there's a reason why. When did you all meet? How did this all become reality?
We first met when I was about 13, and Randy became like another dad to me growing up. I remember I met him through a songwriting buddy of mine at the time, and I had given him a demo CD that I'd recorded of things I'd written, of Tommy Emmanuel guitar instrumental.
Wait. Let me back this up here. So you just decide to give him this is Randy Bachman we're talking about here.
It was through my songwriting buddy, and he was like,
It doesn't matter. It's Randy Bachman. Do I have to keep saying this? Randy Bachman, guitar god. Yeah.
And I mean, at the young age of 13, I was like,
Yes.
well, what do I have to lose? I mean, I might as well just send my music out. And so Randy heard it, and he actually said, this sounds like a young female Chet Atkins, and I need to meet this girl. And so we got together for a few writing sessions shortly after that, and shortly after that, he was like, Lindsay, I'm your biggest fan. I want to help you however I can. So he really taught me how to, sit in a professional recording studio and record a song, and how to songwrite properly, and really helped me dive into the world of rock guitar. Because before Randy, I learned guitar going to bluegrass camps with my dad, and we'd play fiddle tunes till 3 a.m. Mm-hmm. But once I met Randy, I started listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton and Derek Trucks and just all of these guitar players that increased my music vocabulary to a whole other level.
Okay, you realize, you're going to school where everybody would kill for. That's number one. Number two, 13 years old, and you know all these names. Girl, that's kind of freaky. Aren't you supposed to be like Britney Spearsing or Christina Aguileraing or something?
In school, I still, listen to Britney Spears and sing. But what I really loved was to listen to jazz and blues music. And so I had no social life growing up. I would sit in my room and play guitar all day long and listen to music and do homework. And that's all I did.
Okay, so this is what I want to do. Guys, you feel sorry now, don't you? All right? That'll teach them.
I like that.
So what was developing here with you and Randy? When did things really start? When did you start feeling things were coming together for like the songwriting, the creating of music? Because at some point you moved to Nashville.
Yeah, it was actually through Randy's advice. We had been working on a bunch of songs and a bunch of music, and I always knew that I wanted to go down to Nashville and sign a record deal in the States. I always knew it, just even as a little girl. It was a dream, and it was just like, okay, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so I actually went down to LA first off to write with a few songwriters, and I was down there for about 6 months, and then finally somebody was like, you should check out Nashville. I think you'd really like it there. So I remember walking off the plane, and I had one person's name on a piece of paper and my guitar in my back, and I walked off, and I was like, well, if this is the time to make it happen, I guess no other than the present.
I want people to understand too, really, when you go to Hollywood, I think it's more for acting, but for music, I don't care if you're country, hip hop, hard rock or whatever, really the place to go is Nashville. What is it like when you have all those creative people around, people trying to make it, they're playing in the bars, they're doing everything to get noticed, and now you're in the hub of this?
It's so incredible. Just like you said, I find Nashville such a creative, stimulating environment just because there's so many talented people everywhere you go, from musicians to songwriters to producers to record people, and everybody speaks the same language. I think that's why I felt so at home so quickly in Nashville, because I could go on a long discussion about guitar pedals and people were like, yeah, I know what you mean, and nobody would look at me like I was an alien. And so I just felt so at home, and yet was constantly wanting to push myself further, and get better and sharpen that pencil and write better lyrics and play better guitar solos. And so it always makes me keep on my toes.
Okay, so when did it all come together? Because we're here for a reason. It's because of your music. When did it all finally click?
I think it was a few years after living